Hi, welcome to the bathtub. Well, when you hear this sweater, and we throw it away because it's too hot, and you see this hat, you see the whiteboard that's been brought up by the Pismo Beach Prop Department for the 73rd year. I don't know how many years we've been doing this thing, and it has all the special festive highlights that we've made so famous over since early 30s, late 30s, early 40s. When we started doing these annual Bathtaculars for Christmas. It's time for the holiday Bathtacular. It's not a Christmas Bathtacular because we're multi-denominational here, but it's for everybody. It's for people who have Christmas trees, menorahs, dragons in their house, ugly elves. That's Ricardo, the ugly elf, and me. And this is my Christmas hat, which I'm taking off because I'm doing this from California, which is like, it's like 90 degrees. It's like a few days before Christmas, and it's 90 degrees outside. I'm sweating like a hog. I've sent Dodo out of the room for this because I have to concentrate when I'm reading something, and I don't know why. And people have been complaining because I've been repressing Dodo's avian hegemony, which is true. I've been repressing her hegemony because he is a little noisy. So I'm sorry for that. But he's happy in the other room. He's got a new toy. Anyway, we have our Christmas cocktail. It's called the Wily Reindeer. There's the Wily Reindeer right there. It's bourbon. We put bourbon in everything. Kahlua, granola, 3 cherries, a couple of Xanaxes, and a little sprinkling of Acapulco Gold right on the top. It's called the Wily Reindeer, and we give you, now you're getting Christmas cocktail recipes from me. It's just a instant cafe latte. And I got cookies here. These are gluten-free cookies because I think I'm going to be gluten-free next year. Not by choice. Oh. And today, I'm going to read a second Christmas story. I mean, I know it's almost too much Christmas stories from one writer, but I had 2 Christmas stories published this month. One we read last week, which was in S.T. Joshi's Penumbra, the Holiday Transmission. This is a story called A Max Normal Christmas. It's published in a really cool little quarterly magazine out of Charlotte, I think. Charlotte, is it Virginia? Anyway, I keep forgetting. The editor is Robert Boucheron. And he's doing this kind of black and white, cool, stapled literary magazine, which he's trying to distribute to normal people, not just to, academics and other writers. And I think it's a great idea. So anyway, the story behind this is that 25 years ago or 20 years ago, my son and I used to do Christmas books. And then our dog Misty came along, and she got involved in the annual Christmas book. And then Lucy came along, and she got involved in the annual Christmas books. But when we started off, it was just me and my son Jack, and I would write them, or he would write them, and one of us would write the story, and the other one would illustrate it. Sometimes we did both, and we sent it out as a Christmas card because I was too cheap to buy Christmas cards, basically. And one of the first ones that I wrote, which I quite liked, was this one, and we sent it out to everybody, and no one read it, no one paid attention to it. That's why I like to do these things. And it was called A Max Normal Christmas. It had a long subtitle, but we've gotten rid of that. And it was about 5,000 words. And so I just recently, I always wanted to send it out and get it published properly. So I tidied it up for years and years. I constantly tidy these things forever. And I sent it off to this guy, Robert Boucheron, and he said, well, we have limit here. We can only have so many, 3,300 words or something. So he suggested cuts to bring it down. And, I'm kind of a pissy writer. I think, you shouldn't cut any of my precious words. But he cut about 1,300 words, and it seems fine to me. So, and it fits in well with this. So I'm going to read this the best I can. I think I've finally adjusted my camera so it will stop going into screensaver mode every few minutes because I'm an idiot. And I'm going to read this story in the best I can and in the voices of the characters, which will probably be a little annoying. The story is called A Max Normal Christmas, and Max Normal is the little boy who tells the story. Like most non-robotic boys who live with their non-robotic fathers in the suburbs, my child-parent bonding strategies have modified over the years. By this I mean that I look after Dad as much as Dad looks after me. On the day after Thanksgiving, I go to the basement door at precisely 6:30 p.m. and shout, "Dad, it is time to initiate the Christmas preparation. Please reply to your sole offspring at the earliest opportunity." But Dad's response mechanisms are not as efficient as they were. This problem gets worse when he is overly absorbed by professional matters. "You will submit to the transference grid," Dad shouts in the basement. "We will not submit to the transference grid." Dad does not usually speak at such a high volume, but when the lab animals are uncooperative, he can't help himself. "You will submit." "We will not submit. Safety precautions are not adequate to the Lab Regulation Act of 404B49. Repeat, we will not submit." Whenever Dad is having trouble with the lab animals, unusual noises issue from his abdomen. These noises can be heard upstairs in the kitchen. "Click-a-hmm," Dad's abdomen says. "Click-a-hmm." "Dad," I shout, trying to maintain a sub-frustration volume level, "please exit the laboratory. Please attend to your familial duties in the Christmas preparation ceremony." Dad doesn't hear me. This often happens when the lab animals take a collective bargaining position. "You will submit to the transference grid." "We will not submit to the transference grid." I don't like when Dad gets this way. Mom never liked it either, which is why she made Dad install his auto reset button at the top of the basement stairs. "Dad, please don't make me press auto reset. I will not alert you again." When it is clear that Dad leaves me no choice, I press the red auto reset button. An audible pop resounds in the dark basement. I listen to the slow cessation of energy like water going down a drain. By the time Dad reboots and joins me in the family living area, I have already brought the aluminum tree down from the rooftop, where it serves as an interstellar monitoring device in the off-season. "What a highly attractive seasonal centerpiece you have constructed in the family living area," Dad tells me as I attach primary reflective orbs to the tree's upper tier. "It's even more attractive than last year." A young boy needs to hear complimentary statements from his father. Otherwise, he might grow up with poor goal development strategies, which will require him to undergo a deep programming reboot later in life. "Thank you, Dad." I hand him a box of primary reflective orbs. Each spun glass orb is wrapped in yellowing, parchment-like tissue paper, mementos from more than 100 family Christmases. Going back to Mom's great-great-grandparents, who, by the way, were utterly human. "Will you now assist me in the orb application ceremony?" I ask. "We will, as per family tradition, save the star for last." Dad is staring at the tree the same way he stares at the electrical outlet when recharging his capacitors. "Save the stars for last," Dad says sadly. It was always Mom's job to apply the star to the apex of our tree at the conclusion of the orb application ceremony. Back when she was still living with us, that is. "I have taken the liberty of preparing popcorn," I tell Dad. "I have placed thread and needles beside the popcorn. When we finish applying the orbs, we will string the popcorn and sing carols." I wonder if I applied the proper wrist flick to his reset button. He simply isn't acting like himself. "Fa la la," I chant, hoping to cheer him up. "Fa la 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 la." "Fa la la," Dad says, softly. My receptors detect an alarmingly low level of festive joy. For many years, Mom did everything during the holiday season. She shouted for Dad to come up from the basement. She pushed his auto reset button. She cooked turkeys and baked cakes. But that was before she ran away to an unspecified location in Arizona to work in a laundromat. Since then, she only communicates through handwritten letters which arrive in our mailbox every few weeks or so. These letters always lack both a legible postmark and a return address. "Dear Max Jr., Happy holidays. I miss both of you so much. Things here in Arizona are going very well. Working at the laundromat is going very well. The other people who work with me at the laundromat are really nice. And last week they invited me to their Thanksgiving dinner with their combined families, friends, neighbors, and so forth. I certainly wish you could have been there, Max. I miss you so much. It was very noisy, very messy, and very emotional, and everybody drank too much alcohol. They shouted and laughed and screamed at football games on TV. It was probably the best Thanksgiving dinner I've enjoyed in a long time, because I didn't have to cook it myself and eat it alone in the kitchen while you and your dad stared at the wall monitor or your dad performed weird experiments in the basement. I hope that doesn't sound mean-spirited. It's only meant to be honest. Looking at the calendar clock here in my budget motel room, I can see that about now you two are probably finishing up what you call your Christmas preparation ceremony. You have strung the popcorn, hung ornaments, and put the traditional star on top of that aluminum contraption you bring down from the rooftop. Every year I climbed the rickety ladder and applied the star to the apex, while you and your father shouted, 10, 9, 8, and hurry, 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 and let's beat last year's performance record. It was always too slow, and you were always disappointed. I felt like a failure because I couldn't put that stupid star on that stupid tree in under 17.7 seconds. I know your efficiency record must have been impressive this year without your inefficient old mom getting in the way. Love, Mom. P.S. Please don't let your dad spend too much time in the basement. You know what it does to him. When it comes to festive communication cards, it is important to maintain a high send-to-receive ratio. In other words, if you don't deliver lots of them, you won't receive any in return. It's as simple as a third law of thermodynamics. I designed this year's festive communication card on my personal computer. I adorned it with significant typographical doodads, mistletoe, sleigh bells, elvish creatures, etc. I printed them out, inserted them into envelopes, and personally delivered them throughout the local community. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Brandywine of 445 Sand Hill Avenue. I have come to deliver your festive communication card from the normal household. Stick it out of the door and go away. Oh, Jonathan, he's just a boy. I'm slipping the envelope under your door, Mr. and Mrs. Brandywine. I will now promptly depart your front porch. And don't come back, you crazy metal midget. Thank you, Max. I'm sorry Mr. Brandywine is being so un-Christmassy. That's okay, Mrs. Brandywine. It is perfectly acceptable for a male human being to feel protective about the entrance to his domicile. Scram! I hope you enjoy your card, Mrs. Brandywine. I made it myself. It's lovely, Max. I'm opening it now. What lovely little, doodads. That goes for you and your whole crazy family. Mr. Brandywine is still upset about what happened to our television the last time you mowed our lawn, and his ankles are swollen. It happens every December. I didn't mow the lawn, Mrs. Brandywine. I merely translocated the yard's surface particles to a transcelestial modifying arena until a suitable contour was established. I'm sorry if any feedback altered the efficiency of your televisual monitor. Every time I turn on the news, all I can pick up is the goddamn Crab Nebula. Have a great Christmas, Mrs. Brandywine. We will, honey, and you too. Delivering festive communication cards is an important part of the winter socialization ritual. By means of this ritual, humanity comes together in kinship and communal patterns to endure seasonal hardship through mutual networking support and goodwill. Robots, which my dad and I are definitely not, would derive no benefit whatsoever. Once I've begun delivering festive communication cards, I don't stop until I'm finished. This is because I'm the sort of boy who likes to perform his assigned function swiftly, efficiently, and to the best of my ability. By the second week in December, my patience with Dad is wearing thin. Please inform me what you have purchased for your role in the gift transference, Dad asks me every morning during breakfast. I am sorry, Dad, I reply, for the 13,033rd time of the lunar cycle. If I informed you of my purchase, it wouldn't be a surprise. Dad is sitting across from me at the kitchen table, holding a can of Shell 30-weight motor oil in his hand. The lid of the can has been opened with a can opener. Needless to say, Dad does not lift the can of 30-weight motor oil to his lips and take a long, deep swallow. That would be biologically unwise, especially for a totally human, flesh-bearing creature such as Dad. After a moment, Dad replaces the empty can on the table. Please inform me of your purchases. I will not inform you of my purchases. Please don't ask me again. Dad processes while I observe another can of motor oil sitting on the table directly in front of myself. I pick up the can of motor oil. I do not place the open end of the can to my lips and take a long sip. That would be biologically unwise. You will please inform me of your purchases. I am your father. You must do as I say. I will not inform you of my purchases. Concealment of presents falls under the subdirectory of ritual human functions, not under the subdirectory of family obligations. I prefer not to explain this again. Dad puts down the empty can of motor oil and walks to the Christmas centerpiece, where he picks up the recently concealed present. I have wrapped the present in aluminum foil in order to deflect his sensor array. It is tubular and heavy, Dad says, weighing it with his hand. It sloshes when I shake it. Those are highly accurate sensory observations, I reply, just to be fair. Dad processes. Is it motor oil, he asks. Did you purchase a can of motor oil for your father in order to fulfill your obligation toward the gift transference? You did. I'm sure you did. If only Dad would accept that not knowing is one of the most important aspects of the gift transference ceremony. 7 more days, 6 more days, 5, 4. The gift transference ceremony gets closer every minute. It's the way we were programmed. Some nights I stand alone at the basement door and monitor Dad's negotiations with the lab animals. It is almost as good as having Dad with me. You will perform the fa-la-las. You will submit to the deployment of seasonal cheer. We will not assist in the deployment of seasonal cheer. Assisting in the deployment of seasonal cheer is not required by the Universal Code of 25007. You will hear from our group representative in this matter. If there's one thing that makes Dad erratic, it is disrespectful behavior from lab animals. Dear Max Jr., Christmas is around the corner, and I won't be attending the annual gift transference ritual in the normal household this year. It probably seems selfish, but I need to be alone a little while longer. Here at the laundromat, I have agreed to work Christmas Eve, so the other employees can spend time with their families. It is very quiet and lonely and safe sitting here in the laundromat, surrounded by big metal washing machines and dryers. It makes me miss you and your dad very much. Love, Mom. Even when you must compensate for the absence of an integral family component, the Christmas countdown is probably the most exciting part of the seasonal tradition. Christmas centerpiece, Dad reads from his itemized procedural memory bank. Check, I reply. Suitably wrapped presents. Check, I reply. Well-provisioned pantry replete with various alcoholic beverages, finger food, party favors, and canned organic substances, apportioned for satisfying the needs of totally human guests who may decide to visit us without a prearranged time plan. Double check, I reply. Male group leader providing gender-neutral interaction protocols. I'm not sure who Dad is talking about here. Sequencing grid established, I say. Proceed. Are we prepared to initiate the slumber of anticipation? Check, I reply. Are we prepared to initiate the secondary processing metatape of sugar plums oscillating rhythmically in our cranial recesses? Check. Are we prepared to bathe in the glow of familial surroundings accentuated by the ritual iteration of social traditions as modified through the performative lens of an individual family unit? I process. Check, I reply. Additional process. Even if Mom can't be with us. Dad and I are sitting beside the seasonal centerpiece. We are gazing at the presents, squat and tubular and wrapped in aluminum foil. They slosh when you shake them. One for Dad, one for me. Proceed with Christmas countdown? He asks. Clock reading confirmed. 10, 9, 8, Dad intones. Ah, Christmas, I memo internally. It can be counted on for 2 things every year. It is always different and always the same. 7, 6, 5. Filled with predictable response protocols and unforeseen eventualities. 4, 3, 2. Just like being normal, I think. Just like being totally and utterly human every day of the year. 1, I shout. Initiate, Dad says. Initiate. Christmas program initiated. Visions of sugar plums, sleigh bells on rooftops, frosty window panes, chestnuts roasting, gifts placed under the seasonal centerpiece await the rotation of the planet. Dad and I are together, synchronized and mutually aligned. Even Mom, though she isn't physically present, because she is thinking about us far away and we are thinking about her. And always something I didn't expect. From the basement this time. The lab animals sing like a chorus of angels, only they don't have wings. They are blue with warts. Fa la la, fa la la, fa la 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 la. Ah, Christmas. How I wonder what tomorrow's gift transference will bring. A Max normal Christmas. He's totally normal. There's nothing wrong with him. Totally human. There's nothing wrong with Max. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you in the new year. And we'll see. 2022 can't be much worse than 2021, but I'm sure people will try to make it worse. We won't let them. Take care. Bye.